Hey everybody, how's it going? The Dean of Averageness here, sirvenomik. What we have for you today on World of Warships for Beginners is picking the right cruiser for you. So what happens is here in twitch.tv/sirvenomik, people come in and ask me this, say, what's the best boat in the game? What's the best line in the game? All these typical beginner questions because they want to get an advantage on other people. And I always tell them it depends on how you want to play. So for this guide, it will be cruiser guide, and we will have a battleship and destroyer guide in the future. But choosing the right cruiser is very important because cruisers are very crucial to the game. They hunt DDs. They keep the DPM on battleships, and they are AA platforms as well. So you can kind of deter the CV from coming to striking your area. If you are there in a cruiser. All right, so for this cruiser guide, we're going to talk tier 5 and above because anything below tier 5, really, it all plays basically the same. Shoot your HE. If it's broadside, shoot your AP, and you're going to get some damage. That's basically everything below tier 5. So for the IJN cruisers here, you have very high HE. They do a lot of HE damage, a lot of fire chance, and they have torpedoes. But from tier 6 and above, the torpedoes are in the rear of the boat, meaning that you're gonna use it. You're gonna kite people into you, and then you're gonna drop your torpedoes down. And as you do that, you're gonna have some moderate success. The highlights of this are the Zhao and the Miyoko. A lot of people like the Mogami at tier 8. Wasn't really a fan of it, but that's my own personal opinion. So you're going to play these IJN cruisers. You're going to be pretty much visible the entire time. You're going to use double rudder shift, or you're going to use your rudder shift and try to dodge shots coming in. You're going to try to drop an area of deniability torpedoes, but try not to do this. Try not to go straight at somebody and then turn flat broadside to get your torpedoes off, because you look at all this. Look at all the meat of this boat here. And if you look at this meat of this boat, you're going to get citadel and you're going to explode off the map even before you get your angles on your torpedoes. So forget that you have torpedoes until you get past the guy, and then you'll be fine. So hey, if that's the way you want to play it, then the IJN line is for you. All right, so let's move into the next line, and the German line. Now the Germans are an interesting thing. The highlight of this line being the Rune and the Hindenburg. The Hindenburg is probably, my opinion, the best cruiser at tier 10, and I'll explain why. The Germans from tier 7 and above, they get relatively tanky. Now, if you're broadside, they're going to pin you, and you're all the cruisers that we're going to talk about today are going to take lull pins from just about everything. But for bow tanking, the Germans are probably the best, starting from the York, maybe the Hipper, and then moving into the Rune. The 6-kilometer torpedoes, you're kind of a hybrid boat here. You can stay back just like the Japanese or the French cruisers that we'll talk about, and then you can move in. If you want to move in, you can. You have some pretty potent torpedoes that go 6 kilometers. So if that's the way you want to play it, go for it. Pick the Germans. All right, so now we're going to get into the French line. French line is a very unique and very flavorful line. Starting at tier 8, you get the speed boost module. That will, if you put the speed boost extra module on there, then you're going to go on full speed for a good 5, 6, a good 4.5 minutes or so. And you can hit top speeds, 37, 38 knots up to, tier 9. And you're going to stay at range, long range guns, very strong, powerful guns. AP is solid on it. You can shoot AP at broadside battleships or cruisers and do significant damage from 14, 15 kilometers away. And it's a fantastic boat, so I really like these. The highlights, not really impressed with anything below tier 8, but tier 8, 9, and 10 are absolutely fantastic. If you're going to be far away and you want to be turny and movie, French boats are for you. And then we're going to talk about the UK cruisers, the British cruisers. Very low armor. They all relatively the same speed, about 32-ish knots. The thing about these guys is they only have AP, right? So you're going to aim for that upper superstructure, that upper armor belt the entire game. Doesn't matter what you're shooting on. You do really good damage against destroyers and broadside cruisers, broadside battleships. You're going to do a lot of good damage if you aim a little bit higher than you would normally aim. Also, these do have a smoke and a heal very early in the line. Highlights of this one, starting from 5 to 6, fantastic upgrade at 6. Another fantastic upgrade at 7 for the Fiji. 8 is kind of a lateral upgrade, and then the Neptune is good, and the Minotaur, when you have 2 or 3 second reloads and you can just hold the button down and just spam 10 shots every 4.5 seconds, that's pretty impressive. It's a lot of fun. They are what I like to call smoke humpers, and if you're not in your smoke, then you shouldn't be shooting, or you should be behind islands. These are very fun boats, and I highly recommend these, but these are not for new players. These do take a little bit of skill for positioning. So if you're good with positioning, then give them a shot. If not, then wait till you understand positioning a little bit, and then go for it. Those are the UK cruisers. If you like that play style, then have at it. All right, let's move into Mother Russia here. The Russian cruisers. I enjoyed these cruisers, starting from Tier 5, the Kirov. Very squishy. They're all very squishy on the broadsides. They have very big turning radius. So if you make your choice, maybe you don't shoot sometimes, and then you make half of your turn, and then you start opening up. By the time they have a chance to retaliate, you're already through your turn. Very long range guns, very high fire chance on most of these guns. Highlights, in my opinion, anything, the Bajoni, the Shores, that's 6 and 7. The Chappie at 8 is good. 9 is all right, and the Moskva's pretty solid as well. Personally, I wasn't a big fan of the Donskoy. Didn't see the big appeal of it. Maybe it's lack of performance. I don't know. But either way, it was a good boat. The whole line is fantastic. You have very, very long range. So if that's what you want to play, you're not going to be as mobile as the Frenchies, but you have the same kind of range. So if you want to sit back and sit still, hey, those Russian cruisers are right up your alley, boys. So here we go to the American line of ships. The American line is very fun and very polarizing from one boat to the next boat. Starting at Tier 6, the Cleveland is where this line begins to shine. It has very loopy guns, which is going to go up to Tier 8 eventually. It hasn't happened yet, but it will in the future. But right now, very loopy guns, very high fire chance, very good AA, very weak on the sides. Then you move into Tier 7. This is where the controversy is with this line. You have one type of boat in the Cleveland at Tier 6, and then you go to somewhat of a light cruiser, very heavy guns, but very heavy, good AP, but very weak. You can Citadel the Pensacola, New Orleans from any angle, and it's not much you can do about it. You just understand when you play Tier 7 and Tier 8, you're going to get deleted off of the map. Just have fun and shoot fire, shoot the AP, swap back and forth, and get the feel for the boats. Those are really good. 9 and 10 go back to island humpers to where you can launch over islands and do a lot of damage. They also boast a radar starting at Tier 8. Pretty good, solid radar that lasts for a long time. If this is the way you like to play, then there you go. My personal favorites. I don't really enjoy one line over another one. I enjoy particular boats. I love the Pensacola. I love the Cleveland. I think those are probably two of my favorites in there. And of course, the Demonis at Tier 10 is the most fantastic island humping boat and can hold a corner better than any other boat out there. If you're gonna be in a line and we're talking about positioning, you're gonna hold that corner because not many people are gonna want to push into you. So if that's the way you want to play, the U.S. line is right where you want to be. So please note that these are my choices, and these are my personal preferences. I do highly recommend people playing up to Tier 5 in the IJN line first to learn how to play cruisers correctly, number one. Number two, from then on, it's a choice of how you would like to play. Do you want to be aggressive? Do you want to be a little passive? Do you want to be at max range? Do you want to sit behind islands? Do you want to sit in smoke? Those are the choices that you have to make, and hopefully this video helped you make some of those choices. Salutes, my friends. That's it for me, the Dean of Averageness, sirvenomik. We'll see you next time with some Destroyer talk. Salutes, my friends.
Hey, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Daddy needs that YouTube money.